every couple months, there's a new meta that comes out and rewrites the whole game. This time, it's LaunchCoin, and most people have either given up on it or don't have the patience to see it through. So I'm going to show you why LaunchCoin might be that sleeper that returns some of the best gains in the next few months. So over here, we've got the LaunchCoin chart, and I've spoken about this coin on my channel previously. It has had insane performance this year, going from about a $1 million market cap all the way to 300 million. That's 33,000% in just a few days. Of course, this didn't happen in just a few days. We have this period of time where people were just impatient and gave up on the project, and reasonably so. This project looked like it was absolutely dead after launch. We saw on launch, it had a lot of hype and then died for about 90 days, which isn't really a long time if you think about the amount of gains you could have had if you just held. But it is hard to stay patient when everything is popping off around you and the coin you're in is just looking like it's dead. So it's understandable why people gave up on this. However, this time it's not the same situation. We can see what's going on with LaunchCoin because the founder is communicating with us and telling us that there's a flywheel coming. Not only that, but there are projects building on LaunchCoin. You guys can see here 24-hour volume. You've got 16 million volume coming from LaunchCoin itself and then 11 million from Creator Coin. So this ecosystem is not dead by a long shot. The whole ecosystem is worth 181 million, which is minuscule for what Solana's pushing. They're pushing ICM as the end game for Solana. If you go to the Twitter profile and check out their bio, the high performance network powering internet capital markets right there, that's the #1 description of what Solana is, and that's what LaunchCoin is trying to do over here. So LaunchCoin is far from dead. It's just taking a break after an insane move, which is reasonable. People are taking profits and we're consolidating before the next set of exciting updates come out. And currently we are about 80% down from all-time highs, which is normal, I'd say, with insane runs like this. This ran as if it was a meme coin, and now it's down 80%. So these would be the regular prices at which I buy at. 80 to 90% from the upside all the way down is where I'd be interested in buying. So around 60 million is a sweet price point. Let's call it between 50 and 60, and LaunchCoin looks extremely reasonable. And here are the reasons why. If we take a look at Narcissist's post, he's got a nice little graph showing us the P/E ratio for these tokens, and he says that looks like LaunchCoin has found his bottom. People's faith in Ben and his team is coming back, which is true. I'm seeing positive sentiment return with these few green candles. And let me just say that sentiment has a lot to do with the candles on the chart more so than the fundamentals. So as soon as we go back down, the sentiment will worsen, but the opportunity just gets greater the lower it goes. I'm not saying let's go all the way down to 10 million. I'm saying anywhere between 50 to 60 is a buy in my mind. So metrics have dropped over the past 24 hours. He's talking about the volume, but that's typical heading into the weekend. So as you guys can see, the P/E ratio right there is 3.72, and the lower this is, the better. We can see pump fun. There's a huge discrepancy between the business and token holder. Not really great because you want these to be aligned. And then you can see Graphite Protocol is 8.37, and it's still relatively undervalued compared to Pump Fun. And then Clanker on base, it's under discussion, still developing over there. But as you guys can see right now, the biggest opportunity in terms of Launchpad comes from Believe, which is LaunchCoin. Now, on top of that, we also have some new launches on LaunchCoin that make this extremely exciting. The first of which is Orgo. I'll get into that later, but let's get into Viva first, because there's a nice post here by Tristy talking about Viva, which comes from Bolivia, and he calls it the WeChat of Latam. And the important point here to note is the key stats. Established back in 1999 with an established record with 25 years old telecom operator with deep presence in Bolivia, approximately 100 to 200 million in annual revenue with 1 million app downloads and 800K active mobile users. So you guys can see this is a real company launching on LaunchCoin, which is a great look for LaunchCoin because they have established businesses looking to capitalize on the digital age on blockchain. 13% share in 1.8 billion telecom market, and they're looking to create a super app. And here's where the integration with crypto comes in. Viva's mobile app now includes a built-in crypto wallet and the Viva token integration, creating a token flywheel with deflationary mechanics, buybacks planned in the phase 3 of the roadmap. So this is all great for LaunchCoin. You can see that legit businesses want to fundraise on crypto, and that'll attract other legit businesses in as well. The only thing is they're going to have to deal with regulation as they are a big business, and that stuff takes time. But this is a good look in general for a space that loves to speculate on where things could go. Now, that's the first project that has been added. The second project is going to be Orgo, and that sits at about a 4.95 million market cap right now. Here's the chart. You can see it came out just on the 21st of July, and it's had some crazy price action because of the background of this developer who launched the coin. And we're going to get into that right now. So Spencer Kinney launched the coin. He describes this project being a computer for AI agents. AI apps today are constrained to the chat interface and text responses. With Orgo, you can give model like ChatGPT access to a full computer. Orgo provides full desktop environments which can be controlled by AI models like ChatGPT, available now for developers. He speculates that computer interface will be the next iteration of AI after the chat interface. I like this idea. I'm not a technical person when it comes to AI, but we have Sam Altman here talking about how watching ChatGPT agent use a computer to do complex tasks has been a feel the AGI moment. And I can only assume that these two posts are related to each other because they seem too coincidental. This was posted on July 17th, and then he released it 4 days later. And this is speculation at its finest, but you have to be able to read between the lines. This post has 4.1 million views, and that's why people are so excited. Not only that, we also have the dev being a part of the residency, which is the home for the ambitious. And it's basically an accelerator for those who are gifted, and it adds credibility to the developer, which you can see on the bottom left right there. And there you have the ChatGPT founder as well. So there's a lot of credentials and credibility behind the dev to execute what he's building upon. We just have to wait for Launchcoin to begin regaining momentum for all these ecosystem projects to gain traction and stickiness. So right now we're in the speculation phase, unsure of what Launchcoin's future is, but if you're on the bullish side, you're going to be betting on these projects because they will be acting as betas to Launchcoin once it does begin performing. And on top of all that, they received part of a $1 million fund by Pasternak just 4 days after OpenAI announced ChatGPT agent Orgo has launched a platform that lets AI agents use computers. So it's kind of all tied together, and that's why there's so much excitement behind this project and so much promise behind this project. It's just that some people aren't going to be able to weather the uncertainty between where we are now and where we're potentially going towards the upside. Of course, this is all speculation. There's a bunch of different projects you can choose from in this ecosystem. For me right now, I've got my hands in PQ Orgo, and I'm watching Viva, not quite in it. And then we have a speculative play, Gooncoin, which I have cut half of my position. I'm still own half because it hasn't been performing as well, which is to be expected because this one is the highest Launchcoin beta, and with Launchcoin dropping, the meme coins on Launchcoin also are going to take a big hit. So all in all, this is going to be a patience game as well as a scoping game of the projects here that have the most amount of potential. I do think in this list sits a bunch of coins that are going to head to 100 and potentially 200 and even $300 million market cap. So this is the time to be hunting for projects that you think have the highest potential. And there is a lot to sift through because each project has its own updates. But for me, I'm just going to focus on AI category because I've spoken on this channel about how I'm interested in DeFi, memes, and AI. And right now, what stands out to me right here is the narrative of Orgo and the ties it has between Sam Altman and the dev here who's building what Sam Altman has mentioned right there. Feel the AGI moment. That can have some real narrative if Sam Altman tweets about the feel the AGI moment once again. And as for the Launchcoin chart, we're simply waiting to break this downtrend for starters. And as you can see, we have a little break right there on the Launchcoin chart. We're just waiting for a more definitive break and to actually find a proper bottom on the MACD here. You can see we're curling a little bit. Haven't quite crossed yet, waiting for the cross, waiting for the break. And then once that happens, it'll be a slow disbelief move towards the upside as people start chasing the move as it moves higher and higher. And who knows, when he announces the flywheel, that'll probably give us a nice push towards the upside. But the next real action that's going to excite the market is to break this high of about 200 million. Once that happens, it's going to be a no-brainer that Launchcoin is going to be heading towards those highs of 300 and potentially 400 million. And that's when this ecosystem is really going to get going. So you want to be positioned before then, otherwise you're going to be chasing green candles. And obviously there's going to be less ROI on the investment, but at least you'll have the certainty that this ecosystem is going to get going. So it's a trade-off between those two. But overall, just wanted to give you guys an update on my sentiment towards Launchcoin. Still excited, still optimistic, and more optimistic on projects like Orgo, which have a developer that is capable of developing something great. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys again next time.